Why do you think certain people have not gone to jail? David Malmo-Levine, for example. Everybody thought, oh, he's a goner, 5 years minimum.
Well,
and he got a slap on the wrist.
He got lucky, but David suffered in other ways, too. I mean, he was in jail a week just before they would release him on bail last time, and he has more court appointments yet, and they may be more severe with him. So, he still has many ordeals to go through before we conclude that he got off scot-free. And substantially, he's broke. And like me, he was a successful entrepreneur, and the state just took away all his assets and took away all his goods.
Why did you sell Hemp BC?
Well, basically, I had a gun put to my head from both the police and City Hall, who said, if you don't get out of town and cease business immediately, we're just going to raid you again and take all your assets and bankrupt you. And it was said as simple as that. They weren't even going to wait for any court challenges or anything. I was given a notice, you have 10 days to cease and desist. And if you don't do it, we're just going to bankrupt you. In fact, it's like a pogrom in Russia at the turn of the century. I was given 3 or 4 days to sell. I got 10% of its proper value, and I had to leave town as soon as it was done. And in fact, I'm barred from ever going there again. Shortly after I sold them, within days, the police had arrested me because I had allegedly given some American tourists $5 worth of hash as a gift, and they went back to the border, reported this, and next thing you know, I was in jail overnight, and they wouldn't release me unless I took on an undertaking that said I would never go back to my old stores again. And so I'm barred. I haven't seen them since I sold them.
Had you given those people hash?
Oh, it's quite likely. I've gotten thousands of people high in my time at my cafe and stuff, and I suppose that'll be damning in court towards me, but, I'm not the kind of person that would lie about my activities that I'm proud of. So it's quite possible I gave them a gift of that hash, but what a punishment. $5 worth of hash has basically resulted in me being barred from the whole block I founded in this city, which is now famous as a mecca for people all over the world.
I think it's important that people become more clear about the lack of dangers connected with marijuana. And yet, I don't think the job is being done very well right now. It seems that there's no efficient spokesperson, somebody to rally people to the flag. That what you tend to get is people shooting off rather exaggerated, what seem to be paranoid analyses of the situation. David Malmo-Levine comparing the situation now to Nazis and Jews. I think that these things are dangerous to the pro-legalization cause because people go, oh, God, yeah, I've heard the NRA speak that way too. That's loony talk.
Yes, but it's very unusual. You've got 10 million Americans and over 1 million Canadians who have criminal records for basically a peaceful gardening program. So that's pretty extraordinary. There's nothing else like that in any aspect of our society. There aren't a million other Canadians with criminal records for a peaceful, nonviolent activity. And when you compare the fact that, unlike a murderer, whose house would not be forfeit, if you murder someone, you don't lose your house. But if you grow pot in your backyard, you can lose your house. So the comparisons to the 1930s, European pogroms and rounding up of Jews are very similar. For example, if you smoke pot, you cannot hold a job in many areas. You cannot pass a urine test. They give you a urine test. That's very much like Jewish professors being kicked out of universities. If you grow pot or smoke pot or in any way announce that, you risk having no livelihood. Your children can be taken away from you because of your beliefs towards marijuana. You can have your property forfeited like a Jew in the 1930s. You can be forced to wear marks. I mean, the police, when they raid a person's house for grow shop, now put a marijuana grow operation was here on your house, so all your neighbors know what was going on.
For me, sitting in the back of a police car and watching this escalate, my van being torn apart, a crowd gathering, but more for me as I witnessed a family pointing out to a very young child. I, of course, couldn't make out what they were saying, but they were pointing in my direction. I felt that I was being used as an example of what you shouldn't be. And that disturbed me.
All of a sudden, say a rather conservative Christian family, say their mother gets cancer, and all of a sudden they're going through chemotherapy and she's extremely ill and in a lot of pain and not eating and not losing weight. And faced with such a dilemma, they start to look at why they believe that cannabis is a bad thing. They start to look at some of the lies that they've been fed.
How can you compare marijuana to heroin or cocaine. You just can't. When I went through the police academy 16 years ago, the overwhelming majority of my classmates had smoked marijuana at some time in their life, and I think that can be said of most police officers today, at least all of the ones that I know.
It seems that there have been a number of well-publicized cases recently that are building up a momentum around this subject. Where is it leading us?
Well, you've got, there's a certain immunity to certain persons in our society already who handle marijuana. The Compassion Club, they don't get raided because they're seen as a low-key, non-publicity-oriented service agency. There's not a lot of money being made in the exchange of marijuana. $200 an ounce for marijuana is pretty well cost, so they're not making money. And they're not on national television boasting about come to British Columbia and sample our fine marijuana. They're not, which is what I do. And I do that very much for a reason. This is a revolutionary program, and we want people to come here and grow pot. We want people to come here and live here and experience the pot experience, and we want them to recreate British Columbia in marijuana's image.
What do you think the calendar is, the decriminalization calendar in this country?
Well, I would say that decriminalization is going to occur late this year or next year. I think there's very few things. British Columbia, for example, 63% of the public favors decriminalization, and an additional 25% says it should be legal for medical reasons. So you have 88% of the public in BC says medical marijuana use is okay, and general use is okay to 63% of people. Well, that's too large a number to ever go back down.
I think either this summer or next summer, there's going to be enough pressure on the government to make some substantive changes.
It's regrettable we're taking so long to deal with what I see as a very important social issue.
Well, I don't think it will happen until the next federal government. I think we're a little long in this government's mandate, and quite frankly, I don't see too many people with the courage to put an issue like this front and center when there's going to be an election coming up.
And as the politics evolve and as the pressure comes off a little bit, I hope to be able to sell and distribute more cannabis to more people for, lighter, gentler, easier reasons.
We've had prime ministers that have smoked marijuana, Campbell and Trudeau. Now we've got Olympic gold medalists who are healthy, articulate, and spokespersons, and corporately desired spokespersons, and hot with young women. And so this is the perfect image we want for marijuana, because marijuana is cool. I'm waiting to see the Vanity Fair front headline that says 1998, marijuana's hip. Because marijuana is hip. Marijuana is cool. It's smoked by people who are cool and hip and who want to be hip, and that's just the way it is. And it's going to become more so. And Ross Robiati was like the icing on the cake for that. Now we've got, national leaders, we've got gold medal athletes, we've got musicians. Every person from every walk of life, including police officers, as Gil Puder pointed out, have smoked marijuana, and they enjoy it, and they will continue to do so. And it's going to get more popular, not less, because it's a great choice to make. If you're going to choose something that's fun, euphoric, and harmless, and is a great way to relieve tension and has hundreds of medical benefits, then you're going to choose marijuana.